Howdy Neighbors. Well, there's no longer a make-off for acres. I'm in Modesto, California at my daughter's place. Actually, Vicky and I are here. We left Friday, spent the night at the truck stop there in Corning, and my boys came and said bye. We visited for an hour or so. And then Vicky and I left Saturday morning to come here. Made it about 100 miles and then pulled into a town. I wanted to stop at a Best Buy. Van appeared to be running just fine, getting a tiny bit warm because it was later in the day. And pull into the Best Buy, did my thing, didn't get what I wanted, came out, went to fire the van up, and had a dead battery. So my alternators, my charging system isn't working. So I decided we weren't going to go much farther, and I got a hotel room for Saturday and Sunday night. And Monday morning, which was yesterday, we drove down here to my daughter's and then pulled in here, and I plugged my battery charger in, and while I was there for the weekend, I let my solar system recharge the battery for the van, and made it here no problem, no overheating issues, nothing. And everything's fully charged, and we're gonna head down and go hang out in Bakersfield. We got our campground reserved for a couple of days outside of Bakersfield, and then Vicky will be headed over to Arizona. She's got a doctor's appointment, and I'm gonna go back down to El Cajon. I have to think about the name of that place. Just Steve's shop, where I was in May. And he's got a buddy who is going to take my brand new alternator and do the modifications that it needs to be turned into a one-wire system where I eliminate the Dodge voltage regulator, and basically it ends up being a GM alternator, so that once it reaches a certain RPM, it turns itself on. So I'm going to go down to Steve's shop and spend some time down there again and finish up all the little stuff that I didn't get done before. I'm going to be ordering a new throttle assembly if I'm lucky, as soon as Steve and I look it over and see which one I need to order that'll fit, and install that. There's a few other little odds and ends wiring stuff that I want to redo in here, and hopefully I'll be able to get all that done, even if I got to spend a couple of weeks there with Steve and Rosa and Paul. And but otherwise, little stuff like that I'm going to finally be able to get finished is what I'm looking forward to doing. And now I got the time and I got a few dollars to do it. I need new gaskets for all my doors and windows. You know, that's the type of thing, if I got time, and it looks like I could have all the time I need, because Steve says the building and the property that he's, you know, his building and shop and all that he's in, he's going to be there, he figures, until probably the first of the year. So I've got plenty of time and access to get as much of the stuff done that I can. And while I'm there, I want to find and I'm sure he has, a transmission guy, because I want to have the tranny gone through. It hasn't been looked at since I had it put together. What, 17, 18 years ago. So have it gone through, checked, redone, get that out of the way. And while it's out and they're doing that, I'll have them check everything else to deal with it. I'll put, even though there's new ones on it, I haven't put all brand new, unless they're in good shape, U-joints on it, and get that all squared away. And then, let's see. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. It was just, oh yeah, fans. I have one 18-inch fan on here that I'm using as a puller, and I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to try and go to a couple of 9-inch fans. And use, wait, I said that wrong. I used it as a pusher, so it's pushing the air from the front of the radiator through the radiator to the motor, you know, through the radiator and into the box. So what I'm going to do now is mount the two 8-inch fans. You offset them so that they cover the radiator. And I'm going to put them on the inside and use them as pullers, so they pull the air through the radiator, and then they're on the engine side of the radiator, so they should give that much more movement through the radiator, through the engine compartment itself. And I'm hoping that that helps cool things off a bit more. So we'll see what happens. And then I have a small radiator that I was thinking of using as a transmission cooler, and put another small, like 6-inch or whatever, 8-inch fan on that, and use that as a dedicated transmission cooler. Unless we can find something better, and I can order it and then we can install it. And because right now the transmission cooler is on the bottom of my radiator. You know, it's built into the bottom of it. So if I can get the transmission cooler onto its own cooling system, completely independent of the radiator, that means that eliminates that heat that's going into the radiator. And instead of using the radiator to cool both the engine and the tranny, the radiator will now be just cooling the engine. And then the tranny will have its own dedicated cooling radiator. So that's one of the others I want to get done. Have everything looked at, check everything, check all the timing, readjust the carburetor, change the oil, relube everything, readjust the brakes, readjust the emergency cables because they're a little loose. Yeah, but otherwise, it's weird. I'm houseless. Oh, man. Well, I'm still trying to figure out how to use the new camera. Hopefully I can do some videos that'll show a little bit of travel here and there. But for the most part, hopefully I'll be able to put up more videos. start putting videos up every other day or so, or every day, depending on what happens, where I'm at, what I'm doing. But when it gets boring, I don't want to, I'm no different than anybody else. You don't want to watch boring crap. So anyway, on the road again. Yeah, we'll be leaving here shortly. As long as we travel first thing in the mornings, I don't have to, while it's still nice and cool, I don't have to fire the fan up because something's going on with that alternator. You put a brand new battery, brand new alternator, check all the wiring, brand new voltage regulator, and it's still not charging. So all that's got to be taken out, tested, see where the problem is, and more than likely we think it's probably the new voltage regulator. It's just Chinese junk that they make anymore, and for something this old, they don't go out of their way to make them good quality. So that's why we're going to modify the alternator or get another one and, trade in the new one. And hopefully his alternator guy will be able to take this alternator and just modify it on the inside and eliminate the voltage regulator things to where, like I said, once this thing fires up and once you get to a certain RPM, the alternator just turns itself on. It's called an exciter. And then hopefully get to go out on the boat with Steve and Paul every once in a while too again, because they were just out. He said they went lobstering and they pulled in something like 500 lobsters. I don't know how many they're allowed to keep, but they have, if I remember right, he said they had 10 traps, and they're permitted to, do all that. So, and then he showed a whole bunch of fish they caught too. They looked like tuna to me, but I couldn't tell, but they were at least 2-foot long fish, good sized fish. And then I'll be headed over to Arizona to meet up with Vicky and take it from there. I definitely want to get to Williams and look at property, but this late in the season, I don't know. They could be getting snow at any time and miserable weather, so I don't plan on hanging out up in that area during the winters anyway, so I might not be able to find a piece of property until, next spring. And I have a feeling I'll probably be going and getting an LTVA. For sure I'll be getting an LTVA pass. And that way I have access to all of the LTVAs that are down in the, Arizona and Southern California area for places to hang out. So that, I missed Mike. I missed going by your place. I completely drove right on through Stockton, and I was more worried about driving in the van than I was paying attention to the fact that you had some coffee for me. My daughter said she'd drive me up to Stockton this morning, but I didn't think that was worth. I mean, it is worth it, but to drive an extra 30 miles back and back. Missed you again, Mike. I'm sorry. So, there we go. I miss Make Off Rakers, but at the same time, I don't. All the stress of the, like I turned the power off for the last time Friday. I called him and had it shut. And I don't have to worry about the fires. I don't have to worry about the water. I don't have to worry about the maintaining everything constantly and the pruning and all that. So, as much as I miss it, I don't miss it. All right. Let's see what else. Anything I can think of? Nah. All right. I'll talk to y'all later, and yeah.